Nithyananda?
Nithyananda.
Yes. Sorry for the technical glitch. So today's topic, how Hindus can use AI to prevent World War III.
Yes.
Yes, this is a very interesting topic. And we welcome you all to today's pre-satsang segment on Nithyananda TV. I am Srinitya Brahmasukhananda Maharaj, and we have with us today our co-host, Srinitya Premaswarupananda Maharaj.
Nithyananda Maharaj. Nithyananda.
Yes, Maharaj, so exciting topic today for all our viewers.
Yes.
In fact, I personally am so interested in the whole artificial intelligence. And now that even the Supreme Court of Hinduism has recently talked about the impact of AI and how AI is going to take over the world literally in the next 1 year.
Yes.
And how us as Hindus, how we can not only solve the problems which we are anticipating as human beings because of AI, how we can actually contribute and add more to the technology, latest technology of artificial intelligence, and create a superconscious breakthrough in humanity. Yes, Maharaj, do you want to take us over with what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism recently shared about the history and how we need to care for our history in order to even have our geography? And then we'll come back to why we are raising this point.
Yes. So Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism says that the nations which don't care for the history lose their geography. And the nations which care for their history not only if they lost their nation, not only get the nation back, but they also flourish. That is what the Supreme Court of Hinduism says about the nation. And also he says that AI is the future of the humanity. Yes.
He said AI, in fact, it is inevitable that AI is going to take over the entire, what we know as our day-to-day life, our jobs, our professions, our career, our relationships, every aspect it's going to influence and literally take over. So how we are supposed to respond? Definitely not by the fear, which is the paranoia, mass paranoia, which we are facing. He has literally broken the entire whole hysteria and paranoia which the entire humanity is grappling with, regarding AI, artificial intelligence, literally treating it as a doomsday scenario, so to speak.
Yeah.
But he has literally given us a breakthrough on how we can actually use AI to go back to our roots, understand our true purpose of life, align back to it, and literally solve all our problems and realize our true potential. Now, coming back to today's topic,
Yes,
that is World War III. So, before we go to that, what is a world war? What is happening today, Maharaj? That is the fundamental topic which we are discussing. Now, world war, the definition, how it is defined as, is the prolonged, time period of conflicts, armed conflicts between nations, mostly powerful nations, and several nations spanning most of the humanity. That's why it's called the world war, so to speak, and impacting the entire humanity in a very adverse way. That's how we define the world war. And literally, our history as humanity, unfortunately, has been that, if we look at the statistics, in the last 2,000 years, literally every year, we as humans have either been at war or preparing for war.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. So much of violence, so much of aggression, so much of bloodshed. And for what? We don't really know what we are doing. And literally going to our recent history in the last 100 years, 150 years, we have fought 2 world wars already.
Yes.
But the Supreme Pontiff, before you even go to that world war and what really happened, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, he has literally even shared in one of the satsangs, this is not the First World War. First World War, in fact, what was the Mahabharata.
Yes.
Do you want to share a little bit about what he said?
So Mahabharata is the Hindu history. It happened 5,000 years ago, more than 5,000 years ago. The Mahabharata took place in the Bharata. So the Mahabharata is a Hindu epic, literally. That is like the longest poetic expression of anything which the Veda Vyasa, the great Veda Vyasa, who has compiled all the 4 Vedas, he's the Veda Vyasa. He wrote the whole Mahabharata. If Veda Vyasa, the great Veda Vyasa, if he was just like a poet or just an artist, and he did not actually, if he was not like documenting the Mahabharata, which actually happened, he would be the greatest poet ever. Like, he is the greatest poet, and he would like have written the biggest.
It's already the big 100,000.
Yes. 100,000 couplets. Yes, 100,000 couplets. The whole Mahabharata is 100,000 couplets, which like no record has ever broken the Mahabharata record. Like the 100,000 couplets, there is literally nothing. Like we all, just because of this, it is like established that Mahabharata was actually a happening that happened, which Veda Vyasa,
because if it did not happen, how is it possible for any being to literally
grasp that much?
grasp that much first of all, and so many intricate stories. There are thousands of sub stories got it and connected with each other. Each and every character, thousands of characters. How to maintain their integrity throughout the entire grand story? It is impossible unless it actually happened.
Yes.
So Mahabharata is our actual history. It is in fact the first world war that we have seen in the real history of the world, but it is not told. But we as Hindus, we have to see that Mahabharata, all the Itihasas, all the Puranas are our real history, are our real grand narrative. So keeping this in context, what we are really discussing recently, what the humanity is going through, extreme periods of violence and aggression. 2 world wars we already fought. Unfortunately, what happened is each of these wars, after being fought, the end was not really the resolution to some peaceful resolution or something would end. No, every war ended with planning and plotting for another war. Even after the Second World War ended, it started into an era of Cold War and proxy war. Directly, the nations would not, do aggression against each other, but through other means, the violence, somehow the deep-rooted violence in humanity finds some way of letting itself out, right? Right. Some way it has to let itself out. So the fundamental problem is not getting solved. The violence, aggression, the negativity, the life negativity in general, it is finding its expression again and again and again. Now the problem is, see what happened after World War II. Very interesting thing. After establishing these United Nations and Human Rights Charter, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, when these things came around 1940s and 50s, now the traditional warfare, the traditional bloodshed, using swords and weapons, directly killing people, it is not cool anymore. It is not acceptable by the international community anymore. So it's not like the war has actually ended. Now it has transformed into another kind of warfare, which is psychological warfare.
Yes.
The modern Kurukshetra, the modern battlefield is not on the territorial ground. It is in the minds of the people.
Yes, Kurukshetra is the Mahabharata war. That took place in the Kurukshetra, which was the land of the Kuru. So the Kurukshetra war happened. So that is the Kurukshetra. If anyone of you do not know the Mahabharata story.
Yes. And taking that cue from the Mahabharata itself, currently the psychological warfare, it is the era of psychological warfare. Modern warfare is basically psychological warfare, as I was getting into. So even the anticipation of a World War III, coming World War, between countries, whoever it may be overall, is going to be fought in the level of the minds. In the level of the mind. Now, this reminds me, Maharaj, you were talking about Mahabharata, right? So this reminds me of even Mahabharata 5,000 years ago. This psychological warfare, on one side, we are saying it's a modern warfare. But if I really recollect from Mahabharata, there was already psychological warfare happening in Mahabharata itself. I remember the character Shakuni, what games he played.
Shakuni Mama.
Shakuni Mama.
All of us know that.
Yes, Duryodhana and Bhishma. And do you want to shed some light before we come to what I'm really trying to connect it?
Yes. So like Mahabharata, if you see, the whole of Mahabharata can be actually connected to like each and every one of our lives. So if you see, like Swamiji actually very beautifully maps it that like the 5 Pandavas are like integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, and then causing. And then like that he connects each and every character in the Mahabharata to one of the aspect of our life, like one emotion or one kind of powerlessness. All of that is already happening in our life.
Some pattern.
Yes, some kind of a pattern. Correctly, yes, Maharaj. So it is already literally happening in our life. And if you see in the larger scale, it's already happening in the war. Like how in Mahabharata, like the psychological warfare was happening already, and like Shakuni played like it's
dice, even the dice.
Yes, even the dice. That he used to like decide what he wanted. He had the power to decide what was the fate of the dice, and through the dice, he literally played the whole Mahabharata. Like that was a psychological warfare that he played actually.
Yes, exactly. So interesting actually how we are connecting. See, we already have our history teaching us all of these, giving us all these lessons, hard lessons on what all can happen, how to deal with it, what is the right way, the dharmic way to deal with all kinds of aggression and warfare and this and that. Now coming to the point, what is today happening, right? Psychological warfare. There are so many tools, so many new ways of strategies which we see around us, unfortunately. getting used. One of the biggest strategies in the psychological warfare is subversion. It's called subversion, right? It can happen at any level, civilizational level, state level, this level, that level. Basically, what you do is you make the enemy powerless without even firing a weapon. You make the enemy literally destroy itself without even firing a weapon. There are various ways you do it. Basically, psychologically making the enemy incapable of fighting you back, so that you can literally take over and do whatever you want to do. So this subversion, it happens through various ways, and media, it has, you brainwash people, the common masses against themselves, and so many various tools of subversion there are. So before we continue to this, Maharaj, I would also invite all our viewers to please comment and share your opinions about this entire topic of today, that is World War III. What do you think? What are your fears? What do you think will be the way the world war will be fought, and regarding artificial intelligence, and how artificial intelligence is going to play its role in AI, which we are going to come after a few minutes. We invite you to please post your comments on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whichever platform you are, so that we can even make this discussion more interactive. You can even give your opinions on Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita if you have read them, and how do you think we as Hindus can use Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita, the strategies, to even counter the problems of humanity today. So please, we invite you all to post your comments, and we will even respond to you, and we would love to respond back. So coming back to today's topic, right? So what I was saying, tools of subversion which we are using in the psychological warfare. Going back to Mahabharata, again I see a parallel between what happened in Mahabharata and what is happening today. Subversion happened in Mahabharata also, right? We were saying Shakuni, right? You were talking about Shakuni Mahabharata. What basically Shakuni did, he simply, the Bhishma of that was the greatest warrior of that time. Literally, he had the power to literally subdue entire army just by himself.
Yeah, he was like more powerful than the entire United States, actually. Like all of the power, all of their war power, he was just one person, but he had the whole power of a whole nation inside him, the nuclear power of a whole nation.
Yes, you're actually right. Giving the right example. Basically, most powerful nation, he was more powerful than that. That's the point you're making. Yeah, so, and Shakuni had, through his psychological tactics and strategy, he literally subverted Bhishma, using Duryodhana, using his fake compassion towards Duryodhana from his very childhood. He brainwashed him against his old family, against the entire right thought current. He imposed the wrong thought currents, and literally even Bhishma, we talk about, there's a very interesting story that happens in Mahabharata. You can also share what happens when Bhishma is on his arrowheads in the end. And Draupadi comes, he asks him, do you remember that story, Maharaj?
You can actually share it.
Yes. So what happens is, when Bhishma is sharing dharma, the laws of dharma, to Yudhishthira, Dharma Raja, on his deathbed, literally arrowbed, and so he's sharing what is right, what is wrong, how to rule the kingdom, what is the dharmic way to rule the kingdom, rule the society. And Draupadi, who is the wife of all the Pandavas, so she literally, she laughed, she just laughed, and it's like a laugh with tears in her eye. So Bhishma asks her, daughter, what happened? And Swami himself has shared in the satsang this story. So from that only I'm recollecting. So he asks her, daughter, what? She says, she said, I think, grandfather, I'm just laughing. You're teaching him about the dharma and the laws of dharma. What is the right way? Where was all this dharma? Where was your dharma when all these Kauravas were literally trying to undress me in public? She was at the same time, she had tears in her eyes, and she was also laughing at this whole scene. And Bhishma, he just remained silent, and then only one thing he said, daughter, Duryodhana's food made me forget my dharma. Your husband's arrows, that's Arjuna's arrows, have released all that blood from me, and now I am realigned back to that. So just the food, having the food, wrong food from the wrong person, if that has the power to make you forget your true integrity, true dharma, what about the wrong thought currents? What about the poisonous thought currents, wrong kinds of ideas which are implanted in you? What all they can do? This is the power which the psychological warfare has. And this is exactly what happened in Mahabharata itself. Just with food, if this can happen, then what about all the games that Shakuni played? What all poisonous tricks he played? How he literally brainwashed Duryodhana, entire Kauravas against the Pandavas, and collapsed the entire family, which was his strategy basically, which was his aim. So coming back to the point, this psychological warfare today, this is the biggest fear among human beings. Taking back to Mahabharata's battle, it has already happened. Now, one more point which is coming up right now is this warfare is not just between nations or just between people and this and or between community. It is also happening at a civilizational level. This is civilizational warfare is also one of the biggest problems which we are facing nowadays. Without taking any name, but we know the reality. Unfortunately, we as human beings have been caught in this civilizational warfare. Even there, this subversion and all these psychological tactics are getting played. And now coming to today's actual topic of artificial intelligence, the latest technology, how it is also a stakeholder and a player in this psychological warfare, in this war of civilization.
Yes, ma'am.
Artificial intelligence, the latest technology is itself can be trained with whatever narratives we feed, right? Whatever we feed as human beings, our collective knowledge gets fed into the artificial intelligence and it feeds it back to us. It shows it back to us. Now, let's take the case study of Hindus. Let's start with that. In this, we Hindus are also unfortunately caught in this civilizational warfare. We know that this is our new history. Now we'll see how this game has been played against us, in the psychological context. First, what happened in the last 2000, at least 2000 years, 2 to 3,000 years, is the extreme prolonged genocide after genocide after genocide, Hindu Holocaust, right? Literally killing and massacring the Hindus from the planet Earth. Literally we had 656 Hindu nations during the time of Mahabharata, which shrunk to all the way to what is now healthy, what limited territory we have. That is one thing. On top of that, now, through the various tactics of psychological warfare, now this whole genocide is not only denied, but Hindus are being programmed against themselves.
Yes.
So much of self-hate, so much of, inferiority complex, so that literally Hindus are now destroying themselves. If you want to share something on how this programming of Hindus is now happening in the society.
Yes,
from your personal
so it's like, So Hinduism is like, if you see, the whole, like the way you're taught itself, like yesterday we discussed, like it's the same thing like how yesterday we discussed in the session, like westernizing, and we are like literally destroying our own life. Like when we are born and brought up itself, we know we are being taught that the way you're living is not the right way to live. You have to change the way you're living, and by that naturally we already start adapting to all the different things and different lifestyles. Like how I should actually say this, like the love that Shakuni had for his the Duryodhana and the Kauravas, that is the kind of thing that we are being, that is what is happening to us. Like he did not actually have the context of like evolving them or anything like that. The love he had for them was to destroy them and the Pandavas and everyone. So that is what is literally being done on us itself.
So many times we are being told that it's something good for us, but it's not really good for us.
Yes.
It's really programming us against ourselves, against our true values, which is literally cultural genocide. Right? So cultural genocide is even now happening through the psychological warfare tactics. Right?
Yes.
So this is the unfortunate reality we are living in now. How the modern technology is being used. We know that even today, with the Google algorithm and this and that, all these things add up. All the the narrative about Hinduism that has been put up out there is completely fake.
Yes.
We know from our history books what we have been taught. Completely false history about Hindus. First they were tribal, they were not even, organized, they were not, it was not really an evolved society, all kinds of rubbish, and only the invaders, so-called invaders and this and that, only they were the great kings and this and that. No history about the Hindu civilization, the grandness of the Hindu civilization, whole fake narrative. And the whole narrative is fake. And this whole entire fake narrative is being fed in the technology, into the Googles and Wikipedias and the artificial intelligence of today. So what happens if any general common man, a third person goes and searches for Hinduism, what comes up? Only negativity, only the falsehood. This is the cultural genocide that is happening today against Hindus. This is the civilizational war which we are facing. Now this comes to the actual basic question. Can this artificial intelligence be used even to manipulate civilizations and countries and group of people against themselves, right? And even create World War III. Now, what do we do in that case? How do we prevent it? Do we have the power to prevent it? and the Supreme Court of Hinduism luckily shared that we as Hindus have the power. We have the power, we have the potential, not only to solve these problems, and also to contribute and add to the artificial intelligence. Now, coming to the problem solving, let's say artificial intelligence, if in case it is being used as a tool of manipulation, as a tool of subversion, right? In a war situation or anything like that, what can be done? One main point that comes up is feeding the right narrative.
Yes, about the Hindus mainly.
Yes.
Because Hinduism has the potential and the knowledge for everything, because the Supreme Court of Hinduism very clearly shares that Hinduism has already seen so much of all of this and already has a solution for the whole of the, whether it is war or anything, whether it is AI, the fear of AI taking over the humanity, or all of those fears that we have the solution for all of it. So if we feed the right information, if we get the right information and even into the AI, then we can, we do not have to be feared about anything, because AI is the next world. AI is going to take over the world by this year. That's what the Supreme Court of Hinduism says. AI is already taking over. If we see, literally, we are living on the AI. So that is what it is, Maharaj.
Yes, absolutely. Because even when we say feeding it the right narrative, so what are we actually going to do? See, one thing is the civilizational war which Hindus are facing. So for that, what we have to do is feeding the AI, because AI ultimately can be trained. It is already getting trained with the human knowledge itself.
Yeah,
it's artificial intelligence, right? It is getting trained by human beings.
Yes.
So the entire collective knowledge that we have today on planet Earth by human beings, whole intelligence, artificial intelligence is getting trained on that. Now the problem is, let's say for Hindus, we don't have that content that we want to straight away. That content out there in the digital world, which the artificial intelligence can pick up.
Yes,
and regurgitate, right? And build its intelligence based on that. So to counter even the potential of the artificial intelligence being abused against Hindus is for Hindus to take the responsibility and feed the right content into the digital content into the artificial intelligence.
Yes,
so that it can at least give a counter perspective also, right? So that's for the Hindu. Now, the one more interesting thing is the best gift from Hinduism is if we actually train the AI on the right cognitions, the best cognitions which the Hinduism gives, provides, the cosmic truths which Hinduism provides, if we train the artificial intelligence on those cognitions, on the stories of Puranas, on Mahabharata, on Bhagavad Gita, if we train the artificial intelligence on these, then it will not only solve the problems of Hindus, it will solve the entire problems, the conflicts, the wars, entire problems that entire humanity is facing.
So humanity itself will be liberated.
Yeah.
Like how Krishna, this is exactly like how Krishna came and he, in a controlled environment, he destroyed all the nuclear weapons in one place.
Yeah.
Like that is what the Supreme Court of Hinduism is giving. Like he knows how to take care of the whole thing and then do everything in a controlled environment so that the whole humanity does not get destroyed. The whole humanity does not go at a loss.
Yeah,
that's what the Supreme Court of Hinduism is actually doing. He is the Krishna of the modern.
I was about to say that. He is the Krishna of our time. Literally. He himself is empowering us to use AI for the good of humanity, not get scared of it, not fall into that doomsday scenario and this and that. No. He says it is such a big gift. Most of the mundane tasks can now be done by artificial intelligence. All the whole 9 to 5 rut we are caught in. Simply the whole thing can now be done by artificial intelligence. It is such a big gift for us. And now we can actually focus on evolving into superconscious being and being some manifest superconscious power, which is our true purpose of life.
Yes.
And we can use artificial intelligence to further this, to spread this, knowledge and experience to the entire humanity.
Yes.
Coming back to solving the problems of World War and World War III, prevent basically the World War III from happening. Simple way to use artificial intelligence, train it with the right best cognitions that Vedas and Agamas share with us. Feed it with the right narrative, the right history. Coming back to what we started with. Yes. Feeding it with the right history, the correct history, the authentic history of Hinduism. Because Hindu history is actually the cosmic history and the planet's true history. Yes. Right? It has been hidden from the entire humanity, unfortunately, but it has something to give to the entire humanity. So much of gift, so much of knowledge, so much of experiential knowledge it can give, and a breakthrough, superconscious breakthrough it can give to the entire world. Only if we train the artificial intelligence so that it can serve us and help us to bring ourselves to give
Yes.
ourselves the next break that we are destined to do. And it's time that we actually do it. So I would invite you, Manas, to share us some of these best cognitions that we have, the best role models that we have, and also some of the best, the narratives from Mahabharata or some Purana that we can, for example, start creating some content and feed into the AI.
Yes, Maharaj. So like we have seen in the whole Mahabharata itself.
Sorry for the technical glitch. Yeah. So yes, we are anyway nearing the end of today's program. So just to conclude, basically what we are trying to say is we can actually use the artificial intelligence to prevent not just World War III, but any anticipated problem that the humanity is facing. One way, one powerful way that we Hindus, how we can do it is to feed our right narrative, right history into the artificial intelligence. This can actually happen when we Hindus actually proactively involve and in whatever field we are, actually we feed the content, digital content into the whole entire digital world, so to speak, so that artificial intelligence can literally pick it up. It can be in the field of media, it can be in the field of academia, history, if you are an historian, right? Digital, populate the entire digital world so that it can be picked by the artificial intelligence. Problem is, there is no alternate narrative. The real narrative of Hinduism is not even there to such an extent. That is the actual problem. So we have to proactively contribute, create more and more, even music, dance, any field that you are in, assertively, boldly assert your Hindu identity and express that in whatever form, whatever content form that you are involved in, and literally feed it to the artificial intelligence. So we can actually give a breakthrough to even the artificial intelligence also, and in turn, the entire humanity, and realize our true purpose of life, which is to give superconscious breakthrough to the entire humanity. And that is the very purpose the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is amongst us. He has incarnated, landed on planet Earth to give the superconscious breakthrough to humanity through the revival of KAILASA, enlightened civilization. And if you want to be a part of this wonderful experience, we invite you to please scan the QR code, which is being projected at the bottom of your screen, and join and place your intentions for the Paramashivoham program, which is being conducted these days by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, personally guided, and he is initiating each and every participant into the superconscious truths, experientially guiding and giving them all the best gifts that Sanatana Hindu Dharma has to offer and fulfill his purpose of life.
So now we have had such an exciting discussion on the whole of the topic, how artificial intelligence and the fear of artificial intelligence, and how like the whole world is in the psychological warfare, and all of these interesting things that we discussed today. So The Supreme Point of Hinduism has given the solution for all of this through so many satsangs and so many ways Swamiji has already given these solutions. So now we are going to be entering into the Nithyananda satsang, where we are going to watch and listen to the Supreme Point of Hinduism explaining and enlightening us about the Mahabharata. And this is one of the most powerful ways how the AI can be taught and how the AI can be fed into the right way and the right cognitions for the whole humanity to thrive and for the whole humanity to flourish. So now we'll be entering into the Nithyananda satsang. So I request all of you to sit straight with your head, neck, and spine in a straight line. Sit in the complete state of meditation, in the space of oneness, ready to receive the Supreme Point of Hinduism. Sit in a space of listening. Let us now move on to the Nithyananda satsang. Thank you, Nithyananda.
நித்தியன் வாழும் நித்தியபுரி மலையே ஆறு படைக்கப்பா ஆறு படைக்கப்பா ஓம் ஆறு படைக்கப்பா நித்தியன் வாழும் நித்தியபுரி மலையே ஆறு படைக்கப்பா அறுபடை சக்தி ஒருமுக நித்தியனின் திருவடியை நாம் காண்போம் நித்யா திருவடியை நாம் காண்போம் நித்தியன் திருவடி கண்டு நோயற்ற வாழ்வினை பெறுவோம் நித்தியன் திருவடி கண்டு நோயற்ற வாழ்வினை பெறுவோம் ஆறு படைக்கப்பா ஓம் ஆறு படைக்கப்பா நித்தியன் வாழும் நித்தியபுரி மலையே ஆறு படைக்கப்பா ஆறு படைக்கப்பா ஓம் ஆறு படைக்கப்பா நித்தியன் வாழும் நித்தியபுரி மலையே ஆறு படைக்கப்பா கேட்டால் தருவார் வந்தால் அருள்வார் நித்யபுரி நித்யா நித்யா நித்யபுரி நித்யா நித்யன் பாதம் கண்டு சகல செல்வமும் பெறுவோம் நித்யன் பாதம் கண்டு சகல செல்வமும் பெறுவோம் ஆறு படைக்கப்பா ஓம் ஆறு படைக்கப்பா நித்யன் வாழும் நித்தியபுரி மலையே ஆறு படைக்கப்பா ஆறு படைக்கப்பா ஓம் ஆறு படைக்கப்பா நித்யன் வாழும் நித்தியபுரி மலையே ஆறு படைக்கப்பா
ஓம் நித்யானந்தேஸ்வர பரமசிவசமாரம்பாம் நித்யானந்தேஸ்வரி பரமசிவசக்திமத்யமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சார்யபர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குருபரம்பராம். I welcome you all with my love and respects. I welcome all the dignitaries very important, yes, statesmen from the various countries, representatives of the various countries for this grand global conclave of an ancient traditional celebration of unity and peace and courage, Thaipusam, with Sri KAILASA, uniting nations for indigenous traditions and tribes. We are honored to have Mr. Anthony Kiwonka, Department Minister, representative of Liberia. Thank you for being here. We are honored to have you here, Minister Mr. Anthony Kiwonka from Liberia. Honorable Solomon George, member of House of Representatives representing Liberia, Mayor Peter Kezola representing Uganda, Honorable Deng Jesus Mading, Parliament member representing Jangle and Chairperson of South Sudan Young Parliamentarian Caucus, South Sudan. I welcome you. We are honored by your presence. Mr. R.N. Hawker, Director of Migration Investments, representative of Turkey. Mr. Philip P. Reklai, Senator and representative of Palau, President of Reklai Associates. Thank you for being here. Haji Sainul Sarafat, President of Anjuman Zunatul Jamaat Association, representative of Trinidad and Tobago. Right Reverend Dr. Joseph, Head of the Lutheran Church Malawi. Datuk Dr. Logabalan Mohan, Deputy Minister of Federal Territories representing Malaysia. Mr. Gurpreet Singh, President of Punjab Organization representing Malaysia. And there's a long list of guests who are here. I sincerely thank every one of you for being here. We are honored by your presence. Thank you once again. And I also welcome all the ambassadors, ministers, representatives of KAILASA, Vidyeshwaras, Ganeshwaras, Lokeshwaras, Astreshwaras. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. We are honored by all of you. Paramashiva's message directly from KAILASA. On this auspicious occasion, celebration, global conclave of an ancient traditional celebration of unity and peace and courage, Thaipusam, organized by KAILASA, Uniting Nations for Indigenous Traditions and Tribes. Message from Paramashiva directly is, let us strengthen the grassroots of our conscious lifestyle to live consciously successful life on planet Earth. Please understand, the worst crisis humanity is going through is largest population ever on the planet Earth feels uprooted. Please understand, never ever world faced this conscious pandemic. I'm not talking about corona. I'm talking about largest population, more than 70% of the human population feels they are uprooted. They have no roots. Consciously feel their life has no purpose. I tell you, the greatest problem humanity is facing now is not just pandemic, corona, or global warming. All this we can handle too easily if we are consciously strong. If human beings are consciously strong, handling corona, global warming, other problems are too easy. But unfortunately, more than 70% of the humanity, please understand when I am saying these words, 70%, after thorough research, studying the scientific researches, analysis done by multiple universities which are working on various human societies, ethnic cultures. After thoroughly studying all of that, I am making this statement. More than 70% of the humanity feels consciously uprooted. The feeling of belongingness is stolen away. That's one of the fundamental flaw, I should say. The fundamental right to all human beings is feeling conscious belongingness, feeling grounded, feeling fulfilled with their life. Unfortunately, the political ideologies which are extremely exploitative, religious ideologies which are extremist, the militant missionaries and missionary militants, crony capitalism, deadly combination of all these three. Crony capitalism, extremist religious ideologies, and extremely exploitative, oppressive political ideologies and decision makers. The deadly combination of these three has made more than 70% of the human beings consciously uprooted. The biggest problem humanity is facing now is conscious pandemic. Feeling purposeless. The definition of life is not convincing, satisfying. Please understand, 50% of the middle class people are dropping from regular jobs. Regular jobs are not going to be any more normal lifestyle. The new normal is not going to have a regular clerical, industrial, working population. This is one of the major revolution happening all over the world. Nobody is waking up to it. And 20% of the population just want to move away from the grid. Not just from job. They just don't want the human civilization. They are moving into the forests, remote villages. They don't want all the comforts, luxuries the modern day civilization is providing, because they feel it's the too costly exchange. The 20% do not know the solution, but one thing they became very clear: they don't want the modern civilization anymore. Understand? I am not against science, modern civilization. I am not against any of it. But the crony capitalists, extremist religious ideologies like militant missionaries and missionary militants, and absolute oppressive, sadist, autocratic, power-hungry political decision makers, deadly combination of these three is making people lose their roots. I call this as a conscious pandemic, which is more serious problem than global warming or corona, the global pandemic which we are going through. Please understand, this conscious pandemic of feeling uprooted, feeling displaced, is imploding human society from inside. No amount of painkillers, depression medications, psychiatric drugs is going to help these root problems of humanity. No amount of addiction, illegal drugs is going to help the humanity to find solution. All the decision makers all over the world, if you are a decision maker in the political field, religious field, media, or entertainment field, Hollywood, Bollywood, Gollywood, Sandalwood, or social media influencer, if you are influencing the society in any form, I request all of you sincerely, please wake up to this truth. We are having conscious pandemic all over the world. The only solution is strengthening our indigenous lifestyle consciously. Let's go back to our way of eating. Each part of the world, country, had their way of diet before this multinational companies started dumping food-like products in the name of food into our stomach and make our body as their source for income. Understand, a patient cured is a client lost for big pharmas. They are not going to think for your health. It is very open. It's a business for them. So why will they think? They are not charitable organization. They are not compassion-centric ideology organization. They are declared for-profit companies. Why don't we wake up? The big pharmas are going to only work for their profit. For them, your body is an income source. Why don't we wake up to the simple truth and drop the blind spot with which we are pushing our life and masses, billions of human beings into irreversible physical, mental, psychological, emotional damages we are collectively causing. Please understand. Crony capitalism in the field of pharma, in the field of food, is not only extremely dangerous, it is causing irreversible damage to the human bodies, minds, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. We are living the worst kind of body-mind structure for our next generation. Please understand. In multi-level stealing the conscious indigenous life from the people, whether the indigenous Hindu traditions are stolen away, destroyed from the Hindus living in remote villages of Nepal, India, Malaysia, or the indigenous homegrown family lifestyle of worshipping voodoos the voodoo traditions being stolen away, robbed, forcibly taken away from the African indigenous tribes. All these are the crimes against humanity. Please understand, whether a Munishwaran temple is getting demolished in a remote village in Tamil Nadu, or Mariamman temple is getting demolished in a remote village in Malaysia, or the village Hindu tribes getting brainwashed and forcibly getting converted in Nepal, or the indigenous African tribes and traditions is getting wiped off in the name of modernization, and they losing their voodoo traditions and converting losing their conscious roots and being consciously manipulated, bullied, exploited by missionary militants and militant missionaries. All these are causing conscious pandemic for human beings. The deadly combination of these three all over the world is causing chaos. It is time consciously we the people, we the humanity reclaim our indigenous lifestyle traditions consciously. Modernization does not mean getting brainwashed and losing your conscious roots by this deadly combination of crony capitalist autocratic political decision makers extremely misinforming, brainwashing mainstream media and militant missionaries and missionary militant religious political ideologies. Common man follows science, science follows simply obediently the large powerful media and pharma mafia. Even in this global pandemic corona, common man follows science. Common man is controlled by science and science is controlled by big pharmas. Big pharmas have evolved more like a modern day mafia than solution for the problems of humanity. It is time we the people, we the human beings, we the conscious beings wake up and not allow ourselves to get silenced by those powerful forces trying to silence us. We should get back to our conscious roots, our conscious lifestyle, our own conscious introduction about ourselves. the way we deal our body, our mind, our pleasures, our pains, our relationships, the concept of economy, concept of currency, concept of money, concept of social structure, in every level, it is time we get back to our roots consciously, not allow these chronic capitalists and chronic capitalists supported militant missionaries and missionary militants get to our conscious roots. We are made to eat something food-like product in the name of food, plastic food, which makes us not only sick, alters our body and mind once and for all, to be a client for pharmaceutical industry. Big pharma mafias, and we continue to earn, live just to make big pharmas richer and richer and richer. Patient cured is a client lost is their ideology. And common mass, billions of people are just being treated as the clients, not as patients. Non-violence, conscious coexistence need to enter into all our thought currents, the way of living, in our business decisions, social understandings, the way we influence ourselves and the people around us and the world. Please understand, 70% of the world population is imploding. Consciously feel uprooted, displaced. This conscious pandemic really need to be taken very seriously. Efforts to correct the course correction should start now. KAILASA is all about conscious course correction. We are not interested in who committed the crime. We are only interested in waking up the human beings that the crime has been committed on them and move them away from the sufferings and make them consciously grounded again. Feel fulfilled again. Feel this home, planet Earth, the only home we human beings have. We have some more guests joining. Honorable Jose Miguel Benitez, the Mayor of Guatemala Zone, representing Guatemala. Thank you for being here. all over the world in the name of globalization. Our indigenous roots are consciously getting destroyed. It is time we revive the conscious-centric civilization, conscious-centric lifestyle, conscious-centric life solutions. We human beings need to revisit all the ideas about what is money, what is currency, what is crime, who should be put in prison, who should be rewarded, awarded, what is science. All these definitions need to be revisited consciously. What is human body? What is human mind? What is human being? What is the meaning of health? What is the definition of consciously feeling fulfilled? What is the definition of peace? What is the definition of love? What is the definition of joy? All this need to be redefined, revisited consciously. At least last 200 years. Heavy damage is done. I'm not talking just about India or Sri Lanka, Nepal, Malaysia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan. No, I'm talking about the whole world, Africa. The whole suffering human beings going through in Afghanistan is they accepted the ideology which dictates them, brainwashes them to kill people if they have a different opinions. Instead of handling the logic with the logic, when sword is used to cut the head, if there is an idea in somebody's head and you have better idea, try to share your idea. But just because the other person has different idea in his head, just cutting his head is not going to solve the problem. But unfortunately, when you accept those ideologies, once you start killing anyone, once you complete the killing of the people whom you think as ideologically different outsiders, you start killing within yourself. Because the habit of killing by then becomes part of your lifestyle. You can't do anything. You don't know anything else other than either you kill or get killed. The militant missionary ideology are causing millions of people getting even physically uprooted, making them refugees. And then missionary militants, conversion, religious conversion for the sake of political motives, the mass conversion is terrorism. We human beings need to know an individual for the sake of conscious reason changing his ideologies due to conscious evolution is absolutely okay. That's a freedom. But mass conversion with a political ideology heavily funded externally is a terrorism. It's a violence. Just like gun terrorism, gun violence, humanity should wake up and realize conversion terrorism and conversion violence. Gun violence kills only in thousands. Conversion violence kills in millions. We Hindus, who are the victims of militant missionaries and missionary militants, have to wake up to tell the truth to the world. We need to start somewhere. We should make the world understand. Stop this consciously uprooting people. By terrorizing us with the militant missionaries, missionary militants, and the lifestyle, consumeristic lifestyle being forced on us in the name of culture, modernization by the chronic capitalists. When you get addicted to food-like products in the name of food, please wake up. Your body is becoming the source for income for the big pharma mafias. We human beings need to reclaim our conscious-centric, indigenous lifestyles. We should free ourselves from currency-centric, profit-motivated, profit-centric food, medicine lifestyles forced on us. First, human beings should liberate themselves by the profit motive multinational companies, food and medicine lifestyles forced on us. Second, profit motive large mafia, teaching us about our mind, the false theories dumped on our mind to make us as a patient and resource for their companies. By teaching the false ideas, concepts in the name of psychology, psychiatry, and in the name of mental health. And the false ideas about the currency being taught to us. False ideas about wealth being taught to us. The false ideas about religion, life being taught to us. Let's free ourselves from all this and consciously get back to our indigenous traditions. Our ancestors who are conscious beings who did not look at us as clients or resource for their income or their slaves are the source for their power. Our ancestors were conscious. My sincere request to all the decision makers, social influencers who are here, let's wake up to this conscious pandemic humanity is going through. Let's start now. Let's do something now. Let's get back to food style, lifestyle, medicines, everything our ancestors gave us consciously. Understand? In that conscious lifestyle, if we need to do some evolution, let us evolve consciously in that very lifestyle and stop discarding that whole conscious lifestyle of our indigenous traditions. Conscious indigenous traditions and the conscious lifestyle is the solution for all the conscious pandemic human beings are going through all over the world. Thank you for being here. Maybe in further satsangs, I'll reveal more and more the solution from conscious enlightened civilization, ancient civilization. Of the humanity, Hindu tradition. KAILASA is all about reviving the ancient, enlightened, conscious-centric, indigenous traditions. Hinduism is just nothing but the collection of around 10,000 indigenous traditions, indigenous lifestyles. We are not like modern day organized religions. We are not enforced, cookie cutter solutions. We see human beings as conscious beings, not as source for money, not as source for power, not as source for anything. We see human beings as conscious living beings. Non-violence is the foundation of Hinduism and the foundation of KAILASA's constitution. Let's get back to our conscious indigenous traditions, liberate ourselves from this huge conscious pandemic and help the humanity to free themselves from this conscious pandemic. That's all is my request to all the decision makers who are here from various walks of life. Thank you all. With this, I bless you all. Let's all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhatvaita Saivam Paramadvaitam. The state, space, powers, being, superconsciousness, and Kailasa, Maha Kailasa of Paramashiva, Paramashivoham, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, the eternal bliss Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.